Hello everybody, this is Rupert the 5 and welcome to my channel, and today this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm actually not going to be talking about Call of Duty, what I usually do. I'm going to be doing a review for Microsoft Flight Simulator, so here we go. And the first thing I want to mention is this game, even though it's for the Xbox Series X and S, because that's what actually I'm going to be talking about, is the console version of the game, not the PC version, you can actually get it digitally or physically. But the digital versions, there's 3 different types. There's, I think, the deluxe version. I think there's premium deluxe, I believe is the last version. But there's also the standard version. And then the physical, all you can get it as is the standard version. That's the only version that they have. And the physical version, which is actually what I bought, it has 2 discs. It has the first disc that you have to install some of the game with. And then you have the second disc that you have to install the rest of it with. And keep in mind that it's going to be around about 80 gigabytes even if you install it from the disc. But also on top of that, there's an update that was released the day of the game's release that is around about 40 something gigabytes. So there is a lot that you're going to have to download and stuff before you can actually play the game anyways. Actually be able to fly. So that's something to keep in mind. But with that being said, Microsoft Flight Simulator is actually really fun. It actually looks good. It's not, I want to say, the best looking flight simulator in the world. I mean, it looks really amazing, but it really depends on what your internet connection is, because they actually got it fixed. As far as I can tell, if you have like not that great of internet, all the textures and model stuff will be lower, poly models, lower, resolution textures, stuff like that, if you do not have the great internet connection like you need in order to really play it. But that being said, you still play it regardless on console anyways. On PC, I think it's going to be hard for anybody to run, period, because it's just different. Because one thing I will say about it as well is it's been optimized like 110% on console compared to PC, because it has all the same hardware the console does compared to the PC version, which everybody has a different type of computer with different hardware, so it's never going to be the same. So that's a big reason why it's a little bit better on console. So if you're thinking about getting it for PC or thinking about getting it for console, it's actually better in a lot of ways for console, but there's also some stuff that is not better for console that I'll get to at the end of the video. But anyways, with that being said, the graphics, like I said, is really good. The graphics actually look, like they should look, as far as you can really tell. I mean, I don't really see a lot of differences, but there can be, the problem, like I said, not great internet. It will make it look a lot worse than it normally does. So I'll keep that in mind. But also besides that, it's something that if you're new to flight simulators, you may not like it at the start. Or even if you're somebody who's returning after years of not playing flight simulators, you may not like it at the start either. Because whenever I first got it, because I really wanted to get it, I pre-ordered it, got it day one, had to wait several hours to install update because the internet was running super slow. I don't know why, but had to do that. And after like turning on playing it, I flew around places in the world that I have actually been to, and flew to places that I haven't been to. So I went to go see landmarks. So I went to like New York City, went flying around the Statue of Liberty. I went tons of places, even went to LA, flying around LA. So that's, give examples of different stuff you can do, which is cool, but after you do it, you're like, this is, fun for a, one-time thing, and I'm pretty much done. But then, whenever you turn it off, and then you wait for like a few hours, or you even go to bed and wake up, you're like, I'm gonna jump back on there and fly around again. So it's something that it really grows on you. So even if you are new or you've been playing it before, you're definitely going to want to keep going back and actually flying around in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's definitely worth the money, I would say. But there is some downsides to it, though, I'm going to talk about now, besides, the graphics not being that great if you have bad internet. It also has problems with certain stuff not wanting to work properly, and it just has to do with the fact that it's still being worked on. It's not 100% finished like the simulator. Like, it's still a long way off from being an actual simulator, which is the reason why I keep calling it a game, because it's more so a game than it is a simulator. And I think pretty much any person who's actually played, well, I say played, but, messed around with an actual simulator would say that, because it's a long way off before they start training pilots with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It just is. It's not going to be something that's going to happen this week or this month or even this year or even like the next year. It's going to take a while, but it's something that I think will happen in the future. But anyways, with that being said, the actual problem that I was mentioning earlier, besides just that, is also the fact that certain stuff doesn't want to work properly. So there's like an indication if you turn too sharp right or too sharp left, it will let you know that you're fixing to lose control of the aircraft. And there can be problems with that if, the game happens to screw up. Because it is something that can happen if you do too sharp turns. Because I've had it happen to me where I turn a little bit too sharp right, and it kept on giving an indication telling me to pull back left because it was too sharp a turn, and I tried to, and it physically would not let me turn back. It only let me turn right, and it ended up crashing to the ground because it would not let me control my aircraft. That is one of the problems with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but again, it's because it's unfinished, and it's not really a problem if you actually fly correctly and not really trying to push the aircraft to its limits, which is what I was doing because I was trying to fly around everywhere and do everything. I was just seeing what I could do with the aircraft in general, so that's the reason why I actually crashed, because I pushed it too far and the game glitched out. So keep that in mind with that. But the last thing I need to talk about, with that being said, is something that actually has nothing to do with the Flight Simulator itself. It has to do with the fact that a lot of companies who promised that they're going to have flight controls for Microsoft Flight Simulator on launch, which was the July 27th, if I remember correctly, they did not. And I seen that from a mile off myself. I thought that was really dumb that they's going to do that. And it's a big missed opportunity for them to make money, obviously. But they decided to do pre-orders like 3 weeks beforehand for a lot of these flight controls for the Series X and S. So right now, as far as things go, there's really none out. Like there's, let me think, Thrustmaster, there's one Turtle Beach is making, there's also some that Honeycomb's making, and they're all months away, and I think the ones from Honeycomb is like next year. So it's going to be several months away for that. So that is kind of like the problems with it, besides, just the standard problems with the game. Is the problem is that nobody has flight controls for it right now. So that kind of sucks for anybody that's looking for flight controls. I mean, you still find some online, but they're the cheap made flight controls. They're not that great. I mean, everybody who knows anything about flight simulators will tell you that they're not that great and they're cheaply made. But those ones that are cheaply made are like high dollar ones right now because of the fact that this has been released. So people are selling them for $200 a piece when normally they're like $80, which is, not good. So if you really want to get a flight control for this game, make sure it's actually compatible, because that's also another problem, is that a lot of them's not compatible, which I'm saying is a big missed opportunity again for the companies who did not release their flight controls, because there's only certain ones that will work for the Series X and S, and so, not good at all. This is pretty much all I can say. Like, it's nothing, none of this is good when it comes to the Flight Simulator being released. But, again, with that being said, if you want to buy, some of the cheap ones, even though, again, they're cheap, go right ahead, buy it if you need it if you need to be able to fly a lot better. You can go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do. You know, nobody's stopping you. It's your choice on that, but I would not recommend doing that with the cheap stuff. But one thing I would recommend, that a lot of people's going to think it's kind of stupid because it can be fairly cheap as well, is 3D printing flight sticks. You can actually get 3D printed files off the internet of like flight controls for your controller that you attach pieces to it, and it actually helps you fly a lot better than just using your controller standard. But you have to change some of the settings obviously in order to get it work properly. But it is definitely worth it compared to, you know, what you have now. So that's something that you can do, and keep in mind that if you don't have a 3D printer, you can always go and pay a service from some company, because there's multiple different companies in the US and around, as well as around the world, anyways, that you can actually pay them money and send them the files of like the 3D printed flight stick stuff for the controller, and they will 3D print it for you and send it to you, and then you can just put it on your controller and then you can fly around using that. And it's a lot cheaper than buying like a real cheap, you know, real cheap flight stick or yoke or whatever it may be, because it's only going to cost maybe like $12 or something like that, depending on what it is, or you know how much the company wants you to pay them. So it's going to be a lot cheaper than paying like $200 for something that is cheaply made. Whenever 3D printing, especially if it has like 100% infill or a little bit less than 100% infill, it's going to be a lot better quality than the thin hollow plastic that they put on flight sticks that are the cheap made ones, which is the ones that, again, that people have problems with. So anyways, that's that. And I know I keep going back over that, but I just want to make sure that people understand that first and foremost before you buy this, that is a problem. But also something I want to point out that I pointed out earlier with me talking about the actual installing of the game, like from disk or even downloading it. You know, it's going to be a major file size. It's going to take a lot for you to install either from disk or download from the internet. It's going to take a while for you to get to play it. But if you want to get the updates, you have to go into the actual store section and you click on free, and then you can also view like all the download stuff, and you need to download each update for the you know, different areas of the world, so you can actually go to different landmarks. Because like Paris, for example, I don't think the Eiffel Tower is actually in France at all in the current version, or they updated it or something. So you have to get an update in order to see all that stuff. So that is something important to note if you're getting this. But now, with all that being said, I think it's pretty much it. I mean, I'm explaining that, you know, there's physical version, digital version. It's actually really good. It's worth buying if you want to get it. So definitely check it out. And you know, there's not any flight controls really for it right now, so there's that. And like I said, I think it's pretty much it as far as I can tell. So hopefully I explained this good enough, even though I'm not that great at explaining, but you can probably tell by the way I'm talking and I keep rambling on. But anyways, I think now the only thing I can say is please let me know in the comments if this actually helped you out at all, as far as if you want to get it or not, if you think it's cool. You know, let me know, you know, details about certain stuff that you like to do or whatever, because I find it interesting, you know, if people rather get the PC version or the console version, or if they like to go flying around to, you know, whatever location or whatever. I think it'd be cool to know stuff like that. So let me know that stuff in the comments if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. But now, with that being said, that's it for the video. So thanks for watching. Hope all of you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later.